graders, and happy Tuesday. Today you're going to be looking at the threats from carbon. So yesterday you were looking at how carbon is involved in our environment and how it has to do with living things. Today we're going to look at the things that might be negative things caused by carbon. Tomorrow is going to be the positives, so we're going to end with the high note. But today is all about scary things that can happen because of carbon. For this video, I'm going to be walking you through the expectations for the day and some annotation expectations that we haven't really done very much in class before that I want to make sure that we're all clear on. If at any point, Ms. McClure, if there are hands in the air, please pause the video, rewind if necessary. And students, this will also be posted in my Google folder in case you want to go back on your own and review. So here is where we're going to start. At the end of this video, you're going to be expected to to write into this box right here kind of your summary. So your summary is going to go in this box once you're done watching the video. The first part of today is going to be your independent close read. You're going to be responsible for one of these 4 topics listed on your paper. There's these things called black carbon, ocean acidification, rainforest depletion, and rising sea levels. In your dangling number groups in just a few minutes, not yet, you're going to be deciding who's going to be in charge of what. And I'll give you a little bit of some insight about what each of those things are all about. But there is an article that goes with each one, and basically while you're in part 1, you're going to be going by yourself through your own article, answering these questions that you see on your page. The first part is to skim your article, looking at the pictures and the headings, and basically just making a prediction. So in this spot you're going to predict. Don't actually write what I'm writing. I'm just giving you some notes. So you're going to predict in that box. The next part of this is to read your article, and there's really not much to write on the paper for this, but this is the spot where I'm asking you to do some different annotating than you've probably done in this class before. So here's how it's going to work. You're looking for 3 different things. So the first is something I already knew, the second is vocabulary you don't know yet, and the third is going to be some key information about carbon, because your end goal is going to be to go back to a group, your current dangling number group, and share back why your particular assigned thing, black carbon, ocean acidification, etc., why those things are scary. So this may be the most important detail as you're annotating while you read. But I want you to pick the symbols that you're going to use, and here's what I mean by that. As you're reading, you're going to annotate the paper by writing a symbol to show something that I already knew. So for example, I would use the symbol of a smiley face maybe to annotate for something that I already knew. So as I'm reading along, if I see something I already knew, I put a little smiley face next to it, and I'll show you what I mean in just a second. For vocabulary I don't know yet, I like the question mark symbol, and key information I would use a star. You can use whatever symbols you want. I really don't care about the symbol, but you need to pick something to show these 3 things while you're reading. So let me give you an example. This, if I can click over to it, is the article for black carbon, or the first page of that article. And as I was reading along in this article, for example, let's say that as I was reading along, I read black carbon is most strongly light absorbing, blah, 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 and it's talking about combustible fossil fuels. Let's say I already knew something about fossil fuels and combustible things. I was like, yeah, I know that's where carbon came from, so I would add, not that, but a smiley face to show that I already knew that thing. And then it keeps going on and says something about fine particles, PM 2.5. I have no clue what that's talking about, so I would put a question mark next to it. And it says black carbon is the most effective form, and it keeps going. And then let's say as I'm reading, I find out that carbon, or this black carbon stuff, is one of the major components of soot and light absorbing. That sounds pretty interesting, because I know that as I'm reading about this, that organic carbon is light absorbing, so that's going to be an important detail to share with my team when I get back. So your entire article should be littered with these annotation marks. Ultimately though, as I go back and show you from your paper, your main goal is to, back now on your paper, is in number 3, to find the paragraph that you think is the most important from this reading, and then find the most important sentence. So I'm going to go back to my reading. I'm just going to arbitrarily pick a spot. I'm not going to actually read this all out to you, but let's say that I find this paragraph, and for whatever reason I think that this is the most important paragraph. So I'm going to put a big box around it. But you're not done yet. For question 3 on your worksheet, you also have to find the sentence that tells like the best story or gives the best argument for why your thing is scary. And again, I'm just arbitrarily picking stuff. So let's say that I find this sentence right here. I don't know what it really says, but let's say that that's the sentence that I pick. You're going to have to take that sentence and go back to number 3 and fill it in here. And then you're going to fill out the rest of these questions on your own. The next part is to confer with colleagues. This is where you're going to get together with the other students in the room who did the same threat as you did. So for example, I was just talking about black carbon. You would get together with all the people who did black carbon if you were in my group. And you're going to answer these 2 questions. You're basically going to talk about what you highlighted and how scary is it? You're only going to have a few minutes for this part. And again, Ms. McClure is going to keep you on track with your time. It's going to go fast. Part 3 is the culminating part where you get back together with your dangly number teams and everybody's going to take a turn. So since I did black carbon, I am not going to write my own information in these boxes. I've already taken notes on that. So for these 3 boxes, I'm going to be taking some notes on what the rest of my team found out. For example, whoever did the ocean acidification, maybe they'll go first. It doesn't really matter. Acidification. And the one on rainforest depletion might go next, and you get the idea. So you're going to be taking the notes here as you share out with the rest of your dangly number teams. At the very end, your exit ticket is going to be to rank and justify what you think these 4 things order are. So if you feel as though ocean acidification, after you learn about it, is the most scary, biggest threat to our environment out of the 4, that would get a rank of 1, and so on. So good